You're comfortable right now. That comfort is why you'll never be exceptional. Most people spend their entire lives running from solitude, filling every silence with noise, every empty moment with distraction. But the ones who actually matter, they've learned to be alone. Not lonely, alone. And in that aloneness, they become unstoppable. If you're brave enough to hear why your fear of solitude is the exact thing keeping you trapped, stay till the end. Most won't. The ones addicted to constant connection always run when confronted with silence. Look at yourself right now. You're probably surrounded by people, or at least your phone is in your hand, connecting you to hundreds of them. You can't sit with yourself for 5 minutes without needing external input, without needing someone else's voice, someone else's presence, someone else's validation to prove you exist. That's not living. That's haunting yourself. You're a ghost that needs constant reassurance it hasn't disappeared. The reason you're uncomfortable alone is simple. When you're alone, you have to face yourself. And you've spent so much time performing for others that you don't actually know who you are anymore. The solitude becomes a mirror, and you're terrified of what stares back. So you keep running. You fill the silence with music, the emptiness with people, the questions with answers someone else has already given you. Anything to avoid the confrontation with your own mind. But here's what you don't understand. The people you're afraid to disappoint, the crowd you're performing for, they're not even paying attention. They're too busy performing for their own crowd. Everyone is so consumed with how they appear that nobody's actually watching. You're running from an audience that doesn't exist. And that realization should devastate you. It should make you furious that you wasted so much energy on people who were never actually judging you. Like this video if you've ever realized that your greatest weakness is your need for external reassurance. I discovered something a long time ago. When I stopped needing people, people became useful. When I embraced solitude, I understood power. When I learned to be completely comfortable alone, I became invisible. Not in a literal sense, but psychologically invisible. I became the person no one could predict because I wasn't performing for anyone. I was just calculating, just observing, just existing without needing anything from the people around me. The shift happens gradually. First, you stop needing constant input. You sit with your thoughts without panicking. You don't fill every silence. You let boredom happen. And in that boredom, something extraordinary occurs. You start thinking clearly, without the noise of other people's opinions. Without the distraction of external validation, your mind becomes sharp, focused, dangerous. Then you realize something darker. Most people can't survive their own thoughts for more than a few minutes. Their minds are so cluttered with self-doubt, self-criticism, and desperate need for approval that solitude feels like drowning. So they keep running. They keep filling the void. And that's their weakness. That's the gap between you and them. While they're drowning in their own thoughts, you've learned to swim. Comment, "I will rise silently," if you're willing to spend time alone without it feeling like a punishment. But here's the cost. When you become comfortable alone, you stop needing people, and people sense that. They become uncomfortable around you. The ones who were feeding off your need for validation suddenly lose their power. The ones who were enjoying your desperation start feeling your indifference, and they'll try to pull you back. They'll call you cold. They'll say you've changed. They'll frame your independence as arrogance or depression or damage. But they're just noticing that you've become dangerous. Dangerous is when you don't need anything from anyone. Dangerous is when you can walk away from any situation, any relationship, any opportunity without flinching because your value isn't dependent on external validation. Dangerous is when you're so comfortable alone that the presence of others becomes irrelevant to your decision-making. I don't have close friends. I don't have confidants. I don't have anyone I fully trust with my thoughts. And I'm not sad about this. I'm liberated by it. Because the moment someone knows everything about you, they have infinite leverage. The moment someone becomes essential to your happiness, they can destroy you. The moment someone becomes your emotional anchor, you're no longer free. You're tethered. You're going to feel the pull. You're going to want connection. You're going to want to share your struggles with someone who understands. You're going to want to be seen and known and valued by another person. And each time you feel that pull, you need to understand what it actually is. It's weakness. It's the part of you that's still afraid of being alone. It's the part that needs external validation to feel real. But what if I told you that's not actually your nature? What if that need for connection is just programming, environmental conditioning, something that can be unlearned? What if the you that emerges once you've killed that need is actually your authentic self? What if the person you become when you're completely comfortable alone is the person you were always supposed to be? Share this with someone who's terrified of being alone. Someone you know is constantly surrounding themselves with people to avoid themselves. Plant the seed. Watch them resist it. But understand that the resistance is just the fear screaming. The fear knows that solitude is the death of weakness. Look at yourself one more time. Really look. Right now, as you're reading this or listening to this, are you alone? Are you genuinely present with yourself? Or are you already thinking about who you need to call, who you need to text, what group chat needs your attention? That constant need to be connected, that's not love. That's not community. That's addiction. The path to power is the path through solitude. Not because you need to reject people, but because you need to reject your dependence on them. You need to become so complete within yourself that other people become optional. Not unwanted, just optional. The moment someone is optional, they sense it, and they respect you for it. Or they leave. And either way, you're fine because you don't need them. The final revelation is this: you're not afraid of being alone. You're afraid of discovering who you actually are. You're afraid that when the noise stops, when the performance ends, when no one's watching, there's nothing there. That you're just a collection of responses to other people's expectations. And that terrifies you. So you keep running, keep performing, keep needing. But here's what happens when you stop running. When you finally sit with yourself and face that terror, when you stare into that emptiness and refuse to look away, something shifts. You realize the emptiness isn't empty. It's full of potential. It's full of clarity. It's full of power. The person you discover in that solitude is someone you didn't even know existed. Someone capable of things your performing self could never achieve. From now on, you are not the person seeking connection. You are not the person afraid of silence. You are not the person who needs others to feel complete. From now on, you are the person comfortable in absolute solitude. You are the person no one sees coming because they're too busy looking for signs of weakness, and you have none left to show. You are the person building empires in silence, while others are performing for crowds that don't care. And here's the thing you need to understand as you leave this video. I already knew everything about you before you started watching. I knew you were uncomfortable. I knew you were seeking connection. I knew you were performing. I observed it all. And now, the question isn't whether you'll change. The question is whether you'll recognize that you've already started to. That moment of discomfort you felt, that's not weakness. That's the beginning of transformation. That's the moment solitude stops being a punishment and starts being a sanctuary.